Hello and welcome to Week 6. This lesson focuses on one of the most defining aspects of leadership, ethics and social responsibility. When we talk about ethics and leadership, we're really talking about the moral compass that guides how power is used. Leadership divorced from ethics becomes manipulation. Leadership grounded in moral purpose earns trust and inspires commitment. Learning objectives. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to explain what makes leadership ethical, apply a practical guide to making ethical decisions, and describe how leaders create cultures where integrity and social responsibility thrive. We'll also look at how these behaviors connect to organizational performance, because ethics is not only about doing the right thing, it's also about creating conditions for sustainable success. Chapter overview. Dubrin structures the chapter like a journey. We begin with the principles of moral leadership, then examine the habits and behaviors that make ethics visible in daily practice. From there, we look at what causes people to drift ethically. And finally, we move outward to how organizations can become ethical, socially responsible citizens in a global community. Principles and practices of ethical leadership. Ethics, at its simplest, is the study of moral obligation, what's right and what's wrong. Morals are personal convictions about those obligations. A leader guided by strong moral principles tends to act ethically because their decisions align with a deeper sense of purpose. Edwin Locke argues that the task of a rational leader is to merge everyone's interests so that both the organization and its people prosper. In practice, that means doing the right thing, as most reasonable people would see it. Ethical leadership in action. Ethical leadership shows up through behavior. Honest, trustworthy leaders who act with integrity model consistency between words and actions. They pay attention to all stakeholders, employees, customers, and the community. And they treat others with dignity and respect. They build a sense of shared purpose, creating community rather than competition. And they promote health, both the moral and physical well-being of those they lead. Ethical leaders understand that people thrive where they feel valued and safe. Why ethical differences arise? Not every leader responds to moral challenges in the same way. Differences stem from personality and upbringing, from greed or rationalization, or from a sense of entitlement that whispers, "I deserve this." Culture matters too. A permissive organizational climate can normalize unethical acts. Psychologists call this motivated blindness. We overlook what benefits us, and bounded ethicality, the mental blinders that keep us from living up to our own values. Recognizing these traps is the first step toward avoiding them. The ethical mind for leaders. Howard Gardner describes the ethical mind as an internal compass that points leaders toward work that genuinely matters to colleagues, organizations, and society. Cultivating this mindset requires reflection, honest mentors, and the courage to confront wrongdoing when it appears. Ethics isn't a one-time choice. It's a lifetime discipline of self-examination. Evaluating ethical decisions. The Center for Business Ethics at Bentley College offers a simple test. Ask yourself, is this right? Is it fair? Who gets hurt? Would I be proud to see this decision on the evening news? What advice would I give my own child? And how does it smell? Does something feel off? These questions may seem basic, but when used consistently, they force leaders to pause, to think, and to choose transparency over convenience. They're a moral speed bump, and sometimes that's exactly what we need. When ethics fail. Unethical leadership makes headlines because its damage is spectacular. Think of Bernard Madoff or Elizabeth Holmes. Both were brilliant, persuasive, and utterly reckless with the truth. Their actions cost thousands of people jobs, savings, and faith in business itself. These cases remind us that credibility, once lost, is almost impossible to rebuild. From ethics to social responsibility. Ethics doesn't stop at the individual. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, is the extension of personal morality into organizational behavior. It's about how a company treats the environment, its workers, and the communities that sustain it. The most ethical firms understand the triple bottom line: profit, people, and planet. Profit keeps the lights on. People and planet keep the future viable. Now, CSR has been met with a lot of criticism lately, and to be honest, the results aren't always good, at least financially. So take your time to fully embrace this particular topic, because I think the times are changing. Strategic leadership of ethics. Leaders institutionalize ethics when they make it part of the organization's DNA. That means setting the tone at the top, rewarding integrity, disciplining misconduct, and weaving moral reflection into training and evaluation. Ethics committees, codes of conduct, and whistleblower protections. All of these are tools, but they only work when senior leaders model the behavior they expect. Culture is caught, not taught. The broader view, sustainability and service. Strategic leadership of ethics also includes tangible social commitments, building sustainable operations, supporting communities, engaging in philanthropy, and partnering with suppliers to improve working conditions. Social entrepreneurship, solving real human problems through innovative business models, turns ethical ideas into measurable outcomes. Leader in Action, Amazon's Housing Equity Fund. Amazon's $2 billion Housing Equity Fund is a vivid example. The company invested to create and preserve affordable housing near its major campuses, an attempt to offset the gentrification effects of its own growth. This initiative demonstrates how CSR can address a social problem while protecting the long-term stability of the workforce and community. Ethical leadership at scale means recognizing responsibility for ripple effects. Now, as I say in the notes on Canvas, an objective analysis of CSR programs over the past several decades has revealed mixed results. Critics frequently argue that many of its initiatives are more about public relations, greenwashing or virtue signaling, rather than a substantive effort towards change. And furthermore, the link between CSR activities and long-term profitability is often tenuous, maybe even obscure, and most definitely heavily debated. The market has not always rewarded companies for social spending, leading many to question whether CSR is a sustainable strategy or a distraction from business itself, which is about creating value for stockholders. Okay, getting back on topic. Ethics and performance. Research confirms what intuition suggests. Ethical leadership boosts morale, performance, and loyalty. Employees who trust their leaders work harder and stay longer. Ethical behavior avoids costly scandals and legal trouble, but it also creates what Dubrin calls a virtuous circle. Financial performance and social responsibility reinforce each other. And like I said, the literature and actual market results is somewhat debatable on this. But anyway, the key takeaway is that doing good and doing well are not mutually exclusive. And that I think we can all agree on. So in summary, ethical leadership begins with personal integrity and extends outward to culture and community. It requires reflection, empathy, and courage. The courage to act on principle, even when it's inconvenient. As you complete your journal assignments and continue to contribute to our discussions, think about how your chosen leader, the leader you've chosen for your end-of-course leadership presentation, or think about you yourself. How do you demonstrate ethical awareness, social responsibility, and moral courage? Because after all, the health of any organization depends on those few who insist that that what we do must also be right. All right, thank you for your kind attention.